Hello everyone, Rich Hagan here, welcoming you to another episode of Inside R&D, coming to you from Wizards of the Coast in Seattle, Washington. Battle for Zendikar marks a seismic shift in the way our favourite game is made. So let's jump straight in to the big picture.
Okay, so this October, I've been working for Wizards of the Coast for 20 years. And in that time, there has not been a change as big as the change right now that we're going through. Like, we are changing Magic. In some ways, like, it's exciting how much we're changing things. And I mean, for the better, for just doing really cool things. It is amazing how many things we're changing. And it is so exciting because, like, these are really cool things. These are things we should have done a long time ago. And just eventually we came around and said, you know what? Let's do this.
The biggest change in the department is just the sheer number of sets we're working on at one time now. The sheer number of blocks specifically. It used to be because a block would take a whole year. We'd have one block in development, the next one in design. There'd be this core set in the middle that required a lot less intense work because it was just more of a disparate pile of cards. But now every single set is very intense. Tons of mechanics, tons of new things going on, and more settings at once in the pipeline. So the fact that we are now having to do 2 world guides a year instead of 1, it's just the art and story team are just in overdrive constantly.
I did the count recently, and at any given moment, I think people of the creative team, I think this has actually just gone up, but we're juggling about, I think, 6 worlds at a time. And they're at various stages of development. Some are basically just lists of themes on whiteboards, and some are fully immersive text that we're getting ready to generate the world guide.
One of the things about Zendikar is, when you look at the previous block on Zendikar, we did something interesting, which is, we're in Zendikar's adventure world, something's going wrong. The Eldrazi are trapped inside, now they're out. Oh my goodness, the Eldrazi's are out. End scene. Like, we just ended in the middle of a cliffhanger. Like people kept saying, what happened? Did they destroy Zendikar? Did they leave? What happened to Zendikar? And like, so I knew when I came back, like, well, okay, I gotta answer that question. What happened to Zendikar?
When we set out to tell our story, we were looking for tentpole moments that we wanted to shine a spotlight on the story that we could use in the card set so that people who were playing with the cards got a sense of the story. We chose 5 because that felt like it gave us a good storytelling arc. We were able to give you enough peaks and valleys, enough twists and turns of the action. So these moments are really like, if we had to say, know these 5 things out of the story, and you'll get a sense. Not the whole thing, you're not going to get the deep dive, but you'll get a sense of what's happening on Zendikar.
The first of these pivotal story events is the slaughter at the refuge, depicted on the card Gruesome Slaughter. Gideon and Jace arrive on Zendikar. They know that Seagate, this center of civilization and learning, has fallen, but it's even worse than they knew. The Eldrazi have fanned out, and they are tracking down and killing the survivors. It's a grim scene. The only ray of light, the only source of hope is that they do find Nissa among the survivors and start to hatch a plan. The story continues with Nissa's quest. Nissa, Jace, and Gideon come together at Seagate, and they are agreed the Eldrazi menace must be stopped. But they're very different people with very different methods of problem solving, and so they set out on these different courses of action. Nissa's part is to go to Colney Heart, the source of Zendikar's power, the source of its soul, where something terrible has happened unbeknownst to Nissa. It is Obnixilis has uprooted the flower at Colney Heart. She has to go there, try to find out what's wrong with Zendikar and rekindle her connection to it.
Pivotal Event 3, Ugin's Insight, the Revelation at the Eye. Jace is playing a role here. He's our 3rd Planeswalker we're seeing. He came with Gideon to solve the mystery of the Hedrons. The Hedrons, the merfolk who were working on those Hedrons are no longer there. Jace goes straight to the source. That is the Eye of Ugin. Guess who's there? Ugin, the Planeswalker himself. Jace and Ugin have a conversation about the merits of trapping or freeing the Eldrazi. That is left a little open-ended, but Jace heads back with some information towards Seagate to help Gideon.
Meanwhile, Gideon has not been idle. He doesn't actually know how to do that. And he's been gathering an army for our 4th big story moment, the liberation of Seagate. Zendikar have come from all over. This is really where you see the allies in action. You've got, he has vampires. He has, under Drana, he has Noyandar's legion of trickster mages. He's got He's got this incredible force of a kind that's never been seen in Zendikar's history, and together they are actually able to rout the Eldrazi and drive them out of Seagate and reclaim it for the people of Zendikar. Gideon has retaken Seagate so it can serve as this base of operations for them. Jace has studied the Hedrons. He understands now how to use them to trap the Eldrazi. Nissa has tapped into Zendikar's power so that she can use it to seal Ulamog in. Even Kiora's here with her Legion of Sea Monsters to help corral the Eldrazi Titan right where he needs to be. So, working together, they're able to trap Ulamog, the only Eldrazi Titan known to remain on Zendikar. And it looks like their victory is at hand, and that is where the Battle for Zendikar story leaves off, and we'll see what happens when the Oath of the Gatewatch starts.
We didn't want characters to just drop off for, half a year or a year at a time. Some characters are going to come in and out of the story, but this idea of cohesion, that Magic has a narrative to tell, implies a certain bit of continuity. We know that every 6 months we're going to go to a new place. So really the thing that is the through line is going to be the character. I mean, in this case, we're following multiple characters. It doesn't mean that every one of those characters is going to have a Planeswalker type card in the set, not necessarily. But if they're involved in the story, you will see them. They will be present somewhere. They will be on spell cards. They will be in these pivotal event cards, and you will see the presence and feel the presence of these characters throughout this story.
Magic is moving into a new era of fiction writing. We are doubling down on story, if you will, and it is informing both the card set and it's informing our transmedia approach to storytelling. So not only are we seeing expressions of the stories on this pivotal event cards, we're seeing it in duels. We're seeing you can walk through a story mode in duels and experience that story. You can get the book, the art and story book of Battle for Zendikar, and you can experience the story that way. And finally, you can get that deepest dive on Uncharted Realms. You can go to battleforzendikar.com and click on that story tab and follow along one episode each week, and sort of like feels like you're watching a TV show, and you can, picture, as I say, last time on Battle for Zendikar.
So here's how the change to standard came about. Is originally we had 3 sets a year that were brand new product, and we had the core set that was half new, half old stuff. So in the changeover, we weren't changing the number of cards we were making. We were making the same number of cards, but we were changing the number of sort of keywords and stuff we'd be making. So one of the problems I had when I went to development, and I said, wow, one of my problems is in order to make this work, in order to have standard not get more complicated under the new system, I just have to make things simpler. And meanwhile, they had a completely separate problem, which is people were just figuring things out too fast. The audience, we have a smart audience. They figured things out fast, and so they were just cracking the thing so fast that development was like, maybe we can make this change, and our change will make things stir up faster, and then to solve my problem, which was, I didn't need to make things simpler if there just was less time. If standard just made up of less sets, in fact, I can make sets a little bit more complex than I was. So it allowed me to go from a world where I had to make things less complex to I can have them a little bit more complex.
One thing that has happened since we've shrunk the largest that standard will ever be to 6 sets from 8 is that we do get to put a few more shots at powerful constructed cards in each set, so that standard, even though it only will be 3/4 as big as it used to be, we still want about the same number of powerful cards available at any given time. So we get to put a few more really nice constructed shots in each set to make sure that standard has all the powerful options it always had, despite being smaller.
I don't think people quite understand the ramifications of 18 months, but I think once they start playing it and seeing it, just having things change more often and just having more flux and just what we can do on the design side, I think people will be really excited.
I think the first Zendikar was like a real shot in the arm for the brand. It had a whole bunch of bells and whistles. Obviously the enemy colored fetch lands were a huge deal, and the full art basic lands, and the eventually going to the Eldrazi, which were just this completely mind-blowing new creature type. We're doing great now, and I don't think we needed to blow the lid off like we did, but we did anyway, because we want to keep you on your toes. We don't want you to be able to predict where and what we're going to do next. So full art lands again, totally awesome. Throwing in Zendikar expeditions, who saw that coming? It's totally awesome. We want to keep our players guessing. We don't want to never know when the next big awesome thing's going to come for Magic. So here it is.
It is going to be, historically speaking, like a major turning point in Magic. Like this was, we studied the history of Magic. Like this was a major moment. This was a big historical time. And the cool thing is we're living it now. You guys are living this great change, and like I can just see right now, just from, I mean, I'm 2 years ahead of you, but just seeing what we've done already, what we have coming up, like this is the start of such cool things, and like it is so exciting to like be living in what I know is going to be like one of Magic's golden ages.